Hey folks, it's Jim, it's Julie, it's Geeking Out. Welcome to the show. Let's get to some comic book reviews because we're in a hurry this week.
Just a little bit of one. We're going to go fairly quick.
Yep.
First up for me is Age of Apocolypse number 13. This is the prelude book to the new crossover.
How many crossovers are there lately? Sheesh.
Too many.
Way too many.
Extermination is going to cross Age of Apocolypse and Uncanny X-Force, and there's one more and I'm drawing a blank on it. But
that's okay.
It's this one is set in the Apocalypse universe, and it's taking place after all of the events of what's just happened. So Jean Grey has successfully defeated Apocalypse by putting him into Wolverine and then tearing him back out of Wolverine.
That would suck.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna lie, Wolverine's a little messed up from it.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, that guy's had his whole entire body ripped out from his flesh, so... Yeah.
Well, I don't know if this Wolverine has had that happen to him, because we are in an alternate dimension for this.
True enough, yeah.
And in this book, Nightcrawler has decided that it's time for him to go home, back to his dimension, to his wife and his kids, and he's going to do whatever it takes to get there. And Wolverine is going to do whatever it takes to stop him from getting there. So it looks like it could be a really, really good crossover. I mean, who doesn't love Wolverine against Nightcrawler? So it's an okay looking book.
You get two of the best special effects sounds in comics. You get BAMF and SNIKT.
Exactly. It's an okay book. I wasn't very fond of the art in it, but I really think that the premise is interesting. So, give it a chance.
Alright, next up, we have the promised from last week, Cats of Tanglewood Forest.
Huzzah!
Which is by Charles DeLint and Charles Vess. And in this one, when young Lillian is bitten by a snake and dies, the Cats of Tanglewood Forest use their magic to save her and turn her into a kitten. Now, Lillian must journey to make things right and find the courage to shape her own destiny.
Okay, so it's only like 60% the cat returns.
I'd say a lot less than that. But, alright, this is a fantastic fairy tale, and it's beautifully painted by Charles Vess, and you get really invested into the characters, which is always a good thing. There's only one bad thing I have to say about this book.
Uh-oh.
And that, it bored me a little bit.
Oh, really?
Just a tad. It's not bad. It's a fantastic story for young adult.
Dry.
Yeah, I'd say young teens and whatnot. This would be perfect for them. It's a great fairy tale. But for me, at the age that I'm at, it was a little boring. I could not get as into it as I could for A Wrinkle in Time.
Right.
It's
a different format, though. A Wrinkle in Time was a full comic done out of a novel,
this is an illustrated novella. But I still enjoyed it. It's still beautiful to look at. It's still a great story about someone trying to find their own way in the world. So I do recommend it, but I can't really recommend it for anyone that's like my age.
You'd be aiming towards like 10 to 14-year-old females for the most part.
I agree, yeah. It's perfect for that age group, and it is a wonderful story. You're going to absolutely love it if you have kids that age and whatnot, but I could not get into it as much as I would have liked to, but I'm going to give it to Julie, and she'll have her thoughts on it next week.
Yes.
So be sure to join us for that, but I do recommend it, especially for young teen girls. It's fantastic. I did enjoy it. It's just, for my age, it was not perfect.
Alright.
Didn't move along fast enough.
Fair. It looked like the font was pretty big on the pages also.
Oh, it is.
Next up for me is
and luckily,
Superman.
I don't need reading glasses yet.
Yes. Only one of us needs them. Next up for me is Superman number 17.
Oh boy, another comic they did not tell us about.
In this one, it is the conclusion of the Hell on Earth storyline, which has hit Superboy and Supergirl since about the middle of December.
Yep.
And Hell is trying to go back in time to restore Krypton to its former glory by absorbing Earth's electromagnetic field so that he can power his spaceship.
That's not a good idea.
So that he can power his space-time ship. And...
Is it a DeLorean?
No, unfortunately. I wish it were a DeLorean. So, consequently, absorbing the electromagnetic fields of Earth means that as soon as his ship leaves, Earth pretty well implodes.
Yeah, pretty much.
We just sort of collapse in on ourselves, killing the entire planet. And Superman, Superboy, and Supergirl could not allow this to happen.
Of course not.
This was an interesting wrap-up to the story. I didn't feel terribly lost. I did not have to consult Wiki to understand what was going on. They gave you more than sufficient information in it. However, I do feel like it had a very abrupt ending.
I will agree. No
spoilers.
We're not going to go into spoilers,
No
but there
spoilers.
is an event that happens that was not talked about.
And I do think that Superman handled it much, much better than the book from last week that dealt with the same topic.
Yeah, I'll agree.
So... I liked it.
It was a bit more of an emotional depth to it than last week.
I liked it so much that I'm thinking about picking up the trade for Superman and going back and reading it to catch up. That said, it is one of my favorite DC creative teams. It's
a good set of creators.
It's Lobdell and Rocafort.
Nice, yeah,
they've also been
pretty good.
Yeah, they're the same creative team as Red Hood and the Outlaws.
Yep.
So, if you like Lobdell and or Rocafort, it's a good book. I love the art style. I like the writing style. I don't necessarily like that Superman is a little sassy.
Yeah, well, the whole 52 reboot thing made everyone a little sassy.
Yeah.
/ sexual deviant.
But it's a good book, and I do think that you guys should give it a chance and go back and give the Hell on Earth storyline a chance, because it's going to have some very serious repercussions going forward.
Alright, next up, we have G.I. Joe, #1. And in this one, Duke must lead his team directly into the public eye, confronting Cobra on American soil.
Ooh.
But what if America is under the control of Cobra?
Uh-oh.
Dun dun dun. Alright, so this is a really weird twist on the G.I. Joe mythos. G.I. Joe is brought out into the public eye to face off against Cobra in public. So now they have all their code names and everything. That's how they're known by people.
Yikes.
And they're like blogging about their victories and stuff like that. And it's just weird, man.
That's strange.
It's like, where this book goes is a small American town has been taken over by agents of Cobra, and they're sent into a trap, and basically, yeah.
Was Admiral Akbar there?
No. It would have actually probably made the comic a little better. But, really, they're trying so hard with trying to connect G.I. Joe to the real world and not have them be military heroes, but just be public military celebrities.
That's awkward.
And it just really feels awkward, and it just doesn't work for me.
Okay.
Now the artwork is nice in this.
The art worked for me.
But when you get into the story, and they're talking about like hashtags and oh man, I just cannot get into this book.
Please tell me that nobody at any point said #YOLO.
No.
Okay, good.
But it's pretty damn bad. And I cannot understand why you would want military heroes. It's great that the military are doing what they do and fighting for our freedoms, but why would you put it into the public eye?
That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't, and it really hurts the book on a whole level I can't go into. So I can't recommend it except for the art. But, I mean, this is not the G.I. Joe we grew up with, and certainly not the G.I. Joe that we have in the movies now either. So really, it fails on a fundamental level here. And that is really sad to me. So I don't recommend it, but if you are a big-time G.I. Joe fan, then check it out just to see just how bad things can get.
Speaking of how bad things can get, Archie number 641.
Oh,
Archie
yeah.
meets Glee.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't have to do this, because the last few Archie books I had to do were...
So,
less said, the better.
in this one, Dilton has been experimenting. He's built himself a portal porter and has opened...
Oh boy, another tongue twister.
Yes. He's opened a tesseract into the Glee universe and has
Archie should never be allowed to use that word tesseract.
He totally uses it. He definitely says that he creates a tesseract. But his tesseract puts him into Brittany from Glee's locker.
Oh, that won't end horribly at all.
Not at all. So, when a football goes astray and ruins Dilton's control panel for the portal porter, I had to double check that I put those in the right order. The half the cast from Archie and half the cast from Glee gets switched.
Oh, terrible.
Yeah, it's... If you're 6 years old, you're going to enjoy it. The art is clean. It's decent art.
I will have one major complaint about the art, though, is that they are trying to do two different styles at one time, and it really messes it up.
Yeah, it's hard to see sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think that it does a good job of hitting the audience it is intended for. Which
is young kids, yeah.
And
it actually makes a bit more sense than, I don't know, Archie meets Kiss.
But as a book for adults, I don't even think that I can highly recommend this to Archie fans because they're missing some of my favorite characters.
Yeah, where's Jughead?
Exactly.
Jughead's not even to be seen in this book.
That said, if you're looking for something for your person you're shopping for who enjoys Glee, if you enjoy Glee, or if you're aiming for something for a smaller child, it's a good pickup. So give it a chance.
Alright, next up we have Ame-Comi Girls, #1, or Volume 2, #1, as we're going. We should have just...
it's ongoing #1, because Ame-Comi was a 5-issue mini.
But this is basically a collection of the online strips that Ame-Comi has done for the last year or so. Alright, and in this one, the Ame-Comi Girls must team up to stop the maniacal Brainiac before she can unleash disaster upon humanity.
That sounds okay.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, it's not, I don't know. It's certainly not Michael Crichton writing it, that's for sure. Alright, so you have the sexy female characters, you have them all fighting with each other and fighting against Brainiac. It's fun for the female characters. It's just, I don't like the over-sexualized versions of these characters. I never really have. I like the designs and everything, it's just, and the art's really nice and clean and everything. I just don't like them being so overly sexualized. But that's just me. It's okay story-wise. This continues from where the last book left off in the miniseries. So if you are a fan of Ame-Comi, or you pick up the PVC statues and stuff, then do check it out. It's still a lot of fun. It's just that they really do over-sexualize the characters, and it really hurts the book.
Alrighty. Last up for me this week is Age of Ultron #1. And this is #1 of 10.
This cover is so 90s with its die cut.
I'm going to give you guys a good look at it. It's the foil cover. There are many, many variants for it.
So shiny.
I like the cover. I like that it's shiny. I like that it's textured.
Oh, please. You just like shiny things.
I'll admit to that. But I kind of like it. It's neat. It's also a good wrap.
Yep.
Here's the backside. So, this is book 1 of 10 in the Age of Ultron miniseries, but it also crosses onto 5 other books, I believe.
Something like that, yeah.
There's a good big 2-page, 3-page spread in the back of the book telling you what books you need if you want to follow everything.
Yep.
So, in this, Hank Pym has built Ultron. What Hank Pym was not expecting was for Ultron to hate humans.
Ah, damn it, Hank. You and your wacky science got amok.
In this post-apocalyptic world, where Ultron rules everything, and everybody fears Ultron, and Ultron hunts all of the humans, the question becomes, where are Earth's mightiest heroes? Why are the Avengers hiding and not fighting? I think that this could be a really, really good story.
Well, as Arnold would say, they are scared little sissy girls not wanting to fight the giant robot.
I would love to respond to that, but I'm going to refrain because I don't want to give spoilers.
No.
But I enjoyed the book. It's probably my pick of the week.
It is really nice to look at. The art's really good.
They did some really neat special effects in the book that at first, when it fell open and I looked inside, I was very thrown off. But when you get to it in story, it's really fantastic. It's a good book. I really think you guys should give this a chance. It's 10 books in the full mini-series, so it's not that bad if you're only following the main Age of Ultron books, but it does hit quite a few stories. However, something fairly awesome is that they are coming out quickly.
Yeah.
Book 2 is next week.
I believe it's almost weekly.
I believe it's a weekly thing.
Yeah.
So even though there are 10, it's 10 back-to-back. So go out, pick it up, give it a chance. You might be surprised. I was.
All right, and last and certainly not least, we have Fairy Quest number 2.
Of 2.
Yep. And in this one, Red and Wolf are betrayed by Tinkerbell and must again escape Mr. Grimm and his Think Police.
I always knew Tinkerbell was evil.
Yeah, me too. And they must escape Mr. Grimm and his Think Police by escaping to the real world. But first, they must go through the Dark Forest.
Dun dun dun.
All right, so you know how much I love the first one. The second one is just as good, if not better.
Fantastic.
We have a whole bunch more fairy tale characters coming into the story. We learn a bit more about who Mr. Grimm is and why he wants to control Fairyland. It's fantastic. The art by Ramos here is great. The story by Jenkins is a lot of fun.
That's really fantastic.
You really get a feel for the characters as you're going through. Now, the only thing is they don't complete the story.
But that's okay.
It's continued because there's another part coming later this year.
It's been solicited already. It's an April book.
Yes. So it'll be a month or two before we get it.
Yep.
But don't worry, we will be reviewing it on the show. Fantastic book, fantastic art, fantastic story. I simply adored it. It's a great story for all ages, and it's just a lot of fun.
All right.
All right. So that brings us to the close of a rushed through episode of Geeking Out. We will see you next week. Have a good one.